Do you have a hard time accepting compliments, setting boundaries? Do you have a deep-seated fear of rejection or abandonment? I'm Lise Leblanc, and today I'm talking about toxic shame and how to disable any shame programming that's been installed in you. Okay, so think of shame as a computer virus that has infected your hard drive. When shame is installed in you at a very young age by parents or by people who are supposed to be taking care of you and protecting you, it can infiltrate your entire operating system, making it difficult to break free from thinking of yourself in a way other than the shameful way that the rejecting parent or person programmed you to see yourself as unlovable and unworthy. So even once you're out of that relationship or family system, those beliefs continue running rampant and multiplying, leaving you trapped in a destructive cycle of negative thoughts about yourself and behaviors that further fuel your shame. So first, let me clarify that shame is feeling bad about who you are. It's believing that you're defective, damaged, disgusting, unwanted, unlovable, or unworthy. In essence, shame is a deeply negative and self-critical sense of identity and self-worth. Toxic levels of shame are paralyzing and distort your sense of reality. Unlike guilt, where you feel bad about something that you've done and that you can probably fix or at least make amends, shame is feeling bad about who you are at your core. For those who are struggling with toxic shame, here are 10 steps that can help you detect and remove, or at least quarantine, this shame virus so that you can protect yourself from further damage. Step 1, figure out who installed this shame virus in you. Was it mom, dad, sister, teacher? Identify the past experiences that contributed to your feelings of shame. Understanding the origins can help you recognize when, where, and why you internalized their shaming words, beliefs, ideas, and opinions of you. Take the time to pinpoint as many experiences where you were told or made to feel like you were a burden, a mistake, a rotten seed, damaged, broken, or unlovable. Step 2, identify the voice of shame. Separate the shame virus from your true identity. The voice of shame will attack you, tell you you're a horrible person, that if people knew the truth about you, they'd reject you, abandon you, leave you for dead. Now, the voice of shame can be a lot more covert, concealing itself even from you by acting like a concerned friend, giving you constructive criticism. It typically conceals itself by saying things like, "You should know better than that by now. Why can't you get it right? You're smarter than that." So it just finds sneakier ways to put you down. The voice of shame can sound different for everyone. So in a notebook, write all of the things that your voice of shame says to you. Understand the mechanics of this virus, how it works, how it spreads, how it hides. Take the time to pinpoint exactly what your voice of shame sounds like so that you're putting a spotlight on it, giving it no place to hide. Step 3, recognize your shame triggers. Make a list of anything that triggers feelings of shame both internally and externally, ranging from specific people, situations, as well as internal states such as bad memories, hunger, lack of sleep, hormonal changes. Step 4 is to figure out the payoffs of being in a state of shame. For example, when you express shame, do you get sympathy or validation? Has shame become your comfort zone or your emotional home, as Tony Robbins puts it in the video that I linked below, where he's talking about how shame can end up feeling like your best friend, your only friend, the only one that's always there for you, that knows the real you and sticks around no matter what. But in reality, shame blocks the real you and keeps you stuck in a spiral of negative thoughts and emotions. Step 5, instead of nurturing shame, challenge it. Challenge your shame-based thoughts by questioning their validity and relevance to your present-day reality. Anytime you have thoughts telling you that you're not good enough, that you're an imposter, or reminding you of all the things that prove you're a bad person. Remind yourself that this is just the shame virus kicking in. To help you challenge shame-based thoughts, ask yourself, whose story is this? Where did it come from? Is this shameful thought serving me well? Is it fair? Would I say this to someone that I love? Then take a photo of yourself when you were very young, under the age of 7, and anytime the voice of shame pops up, look at the photo and tell yourself, just because you didn't get the love and approval you needed doesn't mean you didn't deserve it. Practice supportive self-talk by looking at the photo of yourself and saying the things that you did need to hear as a child. Remember, it's not your fault that someone installed this shame virus in you or that things happened to you to make you feel bad about yourself.
It's not your fault. I know. No, you don't. It's not your fault. I know. It's not your fault. All right? It's not your fault. Oh, it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Step 6. If after challenging your shame virus, you are still feeling shameful, then simply accept that you need to weather out this shame storm. Sit down and simply observe where you're feeling shame in your body. You may also find it useful to start a meditation practice because this will help you focus on the present moment. Personally, I use Muse to calm the mental and emotional storms that roll into my life. This is a brain sensing headband. It uses EEG technology to measure and interpret your mental activity, and it provides real-time biofeedback to guide you in focusing and calming your mind. So in a nutshell, you put the headband on, it calibrates automatically, and during your meditation, you listen to the sound of, let's say, a rainforest. And when your mind is busy, the sound of the rain gets louder and stormier, cueing you to bring your attention back to a single point of focus. Then in moments when your mind is calm, you hear gentle rainfall and birds chirping, and you'll be surprised at how your shame storm dissipates when it has no negative thoughts to fuel it. To learn more about Muse, the brain sensing headband, just click on the link in the description section of this video. Step 7. Sometimes a shame storm just won't leave no matter what you do. So while you're stuck in the storm, just keep reminding yourself that every storm eventually passes, and remind yourself that this shame virus is also fighting for its survival. And when you're trying to eradicate it, it will sometimes fight harder. So instead of resisting it, try to bring some compassion. In a gentle tone, say, I see you, I hear you. You don't need to believe these things anymore. And just keep repeating these things until the shame storm passes. Don't fight shame with shame. Instead, kill it with kindness and with extreme self-compassion. Step 8, acknowledge the coping strategies and adaptive mechanisms that you've developed to cope with shame throughout your life. For example, you may use sex or substances to relieve feelings of shame. You may also use healthier strategies like meditation or exercise, but just be aware of what healthy and unhealthy coping mechanisms you use and under what circumstances. Also, become acutely aware of which coping strategies provide immediate relief, but actually make things worse in the long run. Step 9, practice reframing situations by recognizing that errors or shortcomings do not define your intrinsic worth. So separate your actions that evoke shame from your core identity. So reframe perceptions from I am bad to I made a mistake. And remember, set some realistic expectations. You're building new circuits, reprogramming your mind, and that's not going to happen overnight. The same way as you can't go from being completely out of shape to being a, bodybuilding champion overnight. It takes discipline, positive intent, and practice. and you'll feel like you're swimming upstream for a while because the voice of shame is strong and it will constantly try to convince you to quit, that you can't do it, that you're a loser, a failure, that you should be ashamed of yourself for even trying. Step 10 is to forgive the person or people who installed the shame virus in the first place. And this may need to be done from a distance to make sure that you're not opening yourself up to further abuse or trauma. But keep in mind that hatred keeps you tethered to the object of hatred. And blaming that person for passing on to you the shame programming that was probably passed down to them while they were young and vulnerable is completely futile. Shame causes people to operate at a very low level of consciousness, and their behavior will reflect this. For example, narcissists are full of toxic shame that causes them to get stuck in egoic pride and in survival mode, hypersensitive to anything that triggers their shame and makes them feel humiliated about who they are. So they're constantly seeking admiration and validation, and they're always using defense mechanisms to protect themselves from all these threats, not realizing that the threat is internal. Remember, you will perceive reality from the level of consciousness that you're operating from. So if you're operating from shame, fear, and anger, you will see the world as depressing, dangerous, hopeless, and stressful. And you will continuously find evidence to confirm these pre-existing beliefs, blaming others and blaming the world for being so unfair. Instead, start focusing on self-respect, integrity, and personal responsibility with a giant dose of self-care and self-compassion. If you need help dealing with toxic shame, reach out to a mental health professional in your area. And if you found this content helpful, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And to learn more about shame and self-sabotaging behavior, click on the link above.